The year is 1977. London is on fire with the raw, rebellious energy of punk rock. The Sex Pistols and the Clash are tearing down the old guard, but quietly, in a cramped council flat in southeast London, a different kind of musical revolution is brewing. This is where Dire Straits was born out of financial desperation and a deep, unshakable love for blues, country, and sophisticated storytelling. Our story centers on Mark Knopfler, a man in his late 20s who had tried his hand at stable professions like journalism and lecturing. But his true calling was the guitar, and he had a voice on it unlike anyone else. Clean, melodic, and played without a pick, drawing inspiration from legends like J.J. Cale and Bob Dylan. He was joined by his younger brother, David, on rhythm guitar, his flatmate, John Ilsley, on bass, and a seasoned jazz drummer named Pick Withers. They were, in their own words, poor, truly broke. The flat was cold. The food was scarce. They chose the name Dire Straits as a direct nod to their desperate financial situation. It was honest. Their early gigs were in small pubs, often playing to just a handful of people. Their quiet, intricate sound was so out of step with the punk scene that bartenders sometimes mistook it for them just tuning up. But this contrast became their greatest strength. They scraped together just over £100 to record a 5-song demo tape. A copy found its way to a DJ named Charlie Gillette at BBC Radio London. The moment he played it, everything changed. John Ilsley remembers that when Sultans of Swing hit the airwaves, the world shifted. Suddenly, record companies were scrambling to find this quiet blues band in a city that only wanted speed. They signed a phonogram, and their self-titled debut album in 1978 was a masterpiece of restraint. It was atmospheric and moody, a perfect backdrop for Mark Knopfler's literary lyrics. The album was a slow burn in the UK, but exploded across Europe and Australia. By 1979, thanks to relentless touring, it had cracked the top 10 in the United States. All driven by the strength of one iconic track, Sultans of Swing, a musical story about a jazz band playing to an empty room. Its signature riff immediately established Knopfler as a guitar hero for a new generation. The sudden global success threw the band right back into the studio. Their second album, Communique, was recorded in the Bahamas and released in 1979. While it sold millions, many critics saw it as a safe continuation of their debut. Creatively, Mark Knopfler felt stifled. The pressure cooker of constant touring and recording began to cause friction within the band. David Knopfler later recalled that the road was unforgiving, and Mark's perfectionism, combined with the demand for new material, fractured the original brotherhood. It was too much, too fast. The turning point was their third album, Making Movies, released in 1980. Mark took over production and steered the band toward a more ambitious, cinematic sound. He introduced expansive keyboard arrangements, most notably by E Street Band pianist Roy Bitt, but this artistic growth came at a cost. During the recording sessions, David Knopfler left the band. Mark's vision was changing. He wanted to tell bigger stories, sagas, not just 3-minute pop songs. Songs like Tunnel of Love and Romeo and Juliet needed room to breathe. The band had to grow, even if it meant painful change. Making Movies was an artistic leap, cementing their status as a classic rock act. It was defined by songs like Romeo and Juliet, a delicate, moving ballad that retold the classic tragedy in a modern, melancholic way, all powered by an unforgettable acoustic guitar motif, determined to push the boundaries even further. Knopfler delivered Love Over Gold in 1982. It was a deliberate rejection of the radio-friendly format, containing only 5 tracks, 2 of which were sprawling epics. It was dense and progressive, yet it still topped charts worldwide. Following the album's release, founding drummer Pick Withers also left, marking the end of the original Dire Straits sound. The album's standout track was Private Investigations, a brooding piece that used spoken word and dramatic instrumental bursts to create a palpable sense of mystery, becoming a major hit despite its unconventional structure. After a short break, during which Mark Knopfler composed the acclaimed film score for a local hero, Dire Straits returned with a new lineup. In 1985, they released Brothers in Arms. This album was a technological and commercial supernova. It was one of the very first albums recorded and released entirely in the new digital compact disc format. Its pristine sound quality made it a must-have for anyone buying a new CD player. The music was sharp, culturally aware, and had a punchier, more arena-friendly sound. The album's success was supercharged by the new music video channel MTV, which the band both satirized and conquered. The song Money for Nothing, with its crunching guitar riff and Sting's iconic I Want My MTV vocal, was a critique of the music industry's superficiality that ironically became its greatest triumph. It was the band's first true smash hit in America. The album also gave us Walk of Life, a bright, keyboard-driven anthem that became a radio favorite, and the haunting title track, Bros in Arms, a powerful anti-war statement defined by its distinctive guitar tone. Brothers in Arms sold over 30 million copies, defining the sound of the Medadiesi the World Tour that followed spanned 2 years and over 250 shows, including an unforgettable performance at Live Aid. Dire Straits had reached the absolute peak of their fame. They were the biggest band in the world, but the sheer scale of that success was unsustainable. The exhaustion from the Brothers in Arms tour was immense. In 1988, Mark Knopfler put Dire Straits on an indefinite hold. He spent the next few years exploring his passion for roots music, forming the side project, the Notting Hill Billies. The band reformed for one final push in 1991, releasing their 6th and final studio album, On Every Street. The album was more subdued and reflective, steeped in Americana and folk influences. It sold millions, but it failed to produce the chart-dominating hits of its predecessor. In many ways, it felt more like a Mark Knopfler solo album than a Dire Straits record. The album's most memorable single was Calling Elvis, an upbeat, playful tribute to the King. The band then embarked on another grueling multi-continental tours that lasted nearly 2 years. By the time it ended, the desire to maintain the enormous machinery of Dire Straits was gone. Mark later said it had become too much about the logistics and the size of the operation. He just wanted to be a guitar player and a storyteller, not the CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation. In 1995, Mark Knopfler formally dissolved the band. The end of Dire Straits allowed Mark to fully embrace a highly successful solo career, focusing on the folk, Celtic, and blues traditions he loved. He continues to tours, playing for dedicated fans who appreciate his journey from stadium rocker to master craftsman. Bassist John Illsley remains a close friend and collaborator. In 2018, Dire Straits was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. True to his private nature, Mark Knopfler didn't attend. John Illsley accepted the honor, saying the band was never about celebrity. It was built on the sound, and Mark never saw the point of all the fuss. Despite countless reunion rumors and massive financial offers, Dire Straits has never reformed, but their music endures. Their sound remains instantly identifiable, a blend of literary elegance, blues grit, and the utterly unique finger-picked voice of one of rock's greatest guitarists. Theirs is a legacy of artistic integrity, a band that chose to end its legendary run on its own terms, leaving behind a compact, perfect catalog of timeless songs. As Mark Knopfler himself said, the story is there in the grooves. It's always been about the song. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, look back at one of music's greatest bands. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories like this.